things. This is the Stanley Parable Deluxe or Ultra Deluxe Edition for all consoles around the world. So, this is going to be my experience talking about the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. Right? So, whoops. So I got a lot of shit on my mind as well as freaking on me. But I want to start off this video by saying I remember watching Stanley Parable when it first came out back in 2013, as a PC game. And I remember not being super fascinated with it because, keep in mind, my understanding was my understanding was there about the game, but I didn't really take it much further than that. I just watched it because, that's what people were playing. That was the new hot thing, coming out, and I was like, why not? Why not just watch it? Why not talk about it? So, or not talk about it because talk, but you get my point, right? So, I remember YouTubers were all going through the motions, watching it, reviewing it, and everything, and I didn't really remember much of the game after 2013 because it kind of just went away. It kind of dissipated, and you guys know how video games kind of are. No matter how good the game is, you guys know, after a long period of time, it will go away. People won't remember it anymore, or people won't think about it for 5 seconds anymore. And by the way, welcome Lord Dracon and welcome Dachi. And I saw your picture just now that your leg hurts, you're in crutches. If you want to tell me what happened in Discord DMs, you're welcome to tell me if you want to, anyway. But anyways, as I was saying about Stanley Parable, or Portable. Look, I can't really say it right. I get it inconsistent all the time, But I remember just, watching it, enjoying the game. But let's skip ahead to the PlayStation version back in 2022. I can't remember if I watched anyone play the DLC because my brain... No. I did not. All I did was this. Also, my floor creaks and my fan creaks. But anyways, let's continue. Jeez, why do people only talk about things that are not really important? It sounded like it, my bad. Nah. I get it, but at the same time, what the fake? But anyways, as I was saying, right? So, I don't really remember anybody playing it on video because, like I said, the game just was in my memory and then gone. There were so many games that came out 2013 other than the Stanley Parable, experience, and I just forgot about the game. And even in 2022, I don't remember it being a 2022 video game. I don't even remember that, but yesterday I decided to sit down and I decided to play the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe because, one, I was looking for games in Chris's library again. I know, right after Bully and right after Bloodborne didn't do so well. Who cares? Whatever, right? I was looking for nice games to, kind of take my mind off of all the platformers I've played, all the platformers, the Souls-likes, or whatever I usually like to play. I wanted to do something drastically different. So I installed the Stanley Parable a day prior, and, I was talking to Renee, and I was like, you know what, tomorrow, aka yesterday, I will give it a play. I will play it for the channel just to see, what the game actually was like. And this game, right, is not a platformer, not a shooter. I don't even know what you would classify this game. Maybe a narrative story sort of game, but it's confusing because it isn't it has one guaranteed story. There's multiple ending. There's multiple endings to this story. There's multiple ways you can play it by following everything the narrator tells you to do, or by disobeying everything, or following some things and then disobeying other things. The Stanley Parable experience to me was is very different from what I'm used to, because what I'm used to, by the way, Lexi, welcome to stream, my bad for you can't speak. From my experience when I was playing, I love doing whatever I like to do and then following him for other things. Like, it'd be, let me figure this out for myself type shit, or go this way when he told me to go that way type shit, or whatever. And oh my god, and then I remembered I did follow him, or I did do, a lot of stupid things during the stream, but we got some cool endings, right? But anyways, that's what the game's all about. It's all about you making decisions based on the moment that you're in with the narrator, and obviously you, the character you're playing, Stanley. And honestly, I thought it was a very different experience, because this isn't a platformer. This isn't a video game where you sit there and you rage on it or something, or you sit there, doing the usual gamer things where your reaction speed has to be 10 times faster than the other person's to get the kill or whatever, right? It's all about you being in the moment with the narrator, while the narrator speaks to you constantly and, constantly over and over and over, about circumstances that are going on right in front of you, or him talking about stories. And I remember, that was probably the one thing I remember in 2013. Also, the DLC content is just, or the extra content for the console version exclusively, is just freaking hilarious. But, anyways, that's what the game's about. Right? And it's like, that is wicked. That is insane. That is awesome, because I'm so used to, and a lot of people are used to me raging out, if you will, and all these other feelings. That's what people are used to seeing me do. So seeing this game and me just interacting within the little cube that the Stanley Parable experience gives you, or the little map or world thing and that it gives you, and it's like, this is really cool to create little stories and little niche stories, and also get the narrator gets his jokes in. Don't even get me started with some of the jokes, because some of the jokes and the things they were saying in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe experience, or even the base game experience, is very true. Like, he was saying that video games have lost their edge in today's space. For example, like, there's still some that come out that are really, really good, but it's so far and far between that companies just want to milk the gaming industry until it bleeds dry. Whatever happened to video games, that had some type of oomph to them, more than just, oh, you're just like this game, you're just like that game. And I love how it's calling out video games, it's calling out what video games are today as like a joke, as like a gag, saying like, well, this is the DLC content, you get like 5 minutes of it. You know what I mean? And then you got to pay for another DLC coming up in the future and whatnot. And I'm like, I get this. Because just like the narrator in that moment, I'm pissed at that constantly too. Or I'm angry at that constantly. How video games have really lost their edge in a lot of ways. A lot of companies, and it's true, a lot of companies have lost their way. And I was even, talking with the narrator throughout my playthrough, because I liked him. I thought he was a really cool dude. It's funny, because I remember in 2013, back when the interviews first came out for this game, or when this game first dropped, people hated the narrator. And I was like, wait, people hated the narrator for just simply talking to you and having conversations and basically making the game way less boring? Because let's be honest, if the narrator dude is not there in the game, I feel like Stanley Parable would not be as fun. Because he isn't narrating to you anything. It's just a blank video game. Because keep in mind, Stanley doesn't really talk in this game. So it's like, it's the narrator that does all the talking for both Stanley and himself, and possibly other voices in there. But you get my point, and it's so cool that he's there with us. Our boy. I don't remember his name, but the narrator. That's what I'm gonna say. Our boy narrator. It's narrator from The Boys. If you know the YouTube channel, but think of narrator up there. I just thought he was just cool, just to hang around and talk about things with. He's almost like one of those guys that like you have a long lasting friendship with, but you only known them for like a mere moment. He's one of those type of guys. But anyways, as I was saying, like, man, and this game is good. This game is actually really good because it was so different from what I'm used to playing. I remember that's how Stanley Parable. Let me back it up. Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe really reminds me that video games are a unique media. They were a unique media that only certain amount of people played. Now everybody has access to video. It's not that it's like it's not cool because now everyone has access to it, but it's because it's so oversaturated with slop. And it's like this game kind of reminds me that no matter what generation or no matter what time period games come out in, there's always going to be that one good one that stands above in that crowd of slop. Or it reminds me of a time when video games, no matter what form it was so unique and very different. You couldn't just compare it to something like you can today. Like, for example, literally Bloodborne. What's the first thing you think of when you think of Bloodborne? Dark Souls. Because of the moody, gritty, gruddy environment. And you're like, oh, and the gameplay is just like Dark Souls. So it's a Dark Souls game. You know what I mean? And I know there was comparing back then, but it was nowhere near as much as you could do today. Where it's like, if you do one thing, there's already 10 other games that have done the same thing your game did. So it's getting harder and harder to make a unique product in the gaming space. And I think that's what Stanley Parable was also trying to say with some of its gags. But, and also one of my favorite other gags in the entire game was them trying, the narrator trying to make a Stanley Parable 2 so they can do the whole thing again, but only to realize that no matter what you do in the first game, if it's not in the first game, it's never going to retread the original's magic, because the original's magic is always going to be within the original's magic. Like, so for example, what I mean by that makes no sense. Let me clarify that. So one of the jokes, like I said in Stanley Parable, was, hey, let's create Stanley Parable 2, and let's have all the love and the passion from the first one into this one. That's not how it works. And I love how the narrator slowly sees how a Stanley Parable 2 wouldn't work. And you guys witnessed this in my stream if you watched it. It wouldn't work because he's trying to build it off the same magic the first one did. See, whenever you create a game, this is why I say it's one of the hardest things when you create a game, or especially a game franchise, is because, think about it like this, right? Actually, I got an even better example that involves myself. I created Luigi's Wacky Adventures, right? Episode 1. No matter how many times I try to recreate episode 1 of my Luigi's Wacky Adventure series on YouTube, like a full-blooded remake of that entire hour of footage, it will never be the same as the original product because of the simple fact that it was there first. Everything was said, in that video originally came from there, and, whatever. There was no, in that video, there was no scripts. Everything I said in that time, in that place, in that moment, that's what makes it kind of keep its original flair, right? So if the second one just does the same thing, you're not even original. You're just stealing, or you're just using the original works to your benefit to try and do it again. That's why creating games is so hard, because, like, look at Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2. Sure, they're very similar games, but they have two different charm factors, two different chemistries, two different things of magic that make the game feel more special than, what they are to some other people. That's what makes creating a video game hard. And I think Stanley Parable completely understood that, which is why they parody itself by saying Stanley Parable 2 on the title screen once you beat like the original game, and once you allow the narrator to change some things around with the loading screen or the menus and all that other sort of stuff, which I thought was so cool, so unique to this game. This game loves poking fun at its own genre. It loves poking fun at video games. It loves just poking humor within its own game, and I thought this was such a unique experience, an experience that I needed to play. It wasn't an experience that I can just be like, okay, I played and I'll forget about it in a month. This is a game that I feel like I'm going to remember for a long while after this. Because it's not like a game I would usually spend so much time in. But it's like, I don't know, with everything the game was doing, they're keeping me constantly hooked by constantly restarting, giving you good endings, giving you bad endings, giving you okay endings. It was like, fuck, I'm finding new endings. I want to keep replaying the same experience over and over and over again so I can get all the endings in the game. So I can actually beeline it to get all the endings in the game, or most of them, or the one I want the most. You see, every Stanley Parable experience is going to be different from one another. Unless you're trying to fetch for 100% completion and, you grab every ending in the game or whatever and so on and so forth, right? If you just play it once and you go for the ending you get and you tell your friends, man, the Stanley Parable experience was great, this was the ending I got, and you guys have a whole convo about that and you guys all have reached different paths because you guys took different paths, that's a cool conversation to have. I mean, dude, my favorite ending still in the game is the broom, the closet ending, where you just sit in a closet, empty room with a broom and all that other sort of stuff in there, like wrenches, and it's like, that's the ending you want, and they even make a joke after you go in there for so long that they close off the freaking door so you can't go back in there, and I just think it's freaking funny, whenever the game does stuff like that, and I don't want to spoil like the entire Stanley Parable experience, but it is worth the experience of you playing it for yourself, getting the different endings, maybe getting an ending that I didn't do in my full playthrough of the game. Go play it. Go experience this game, for yourself. Trust me, it's not a rage game. It's not a platformer. It's not a Dark Souls. It is a chill, interactive experience where you interact with things around you and you react to your environments according to what your own brain thinks of it in. Like, go put in a password, go fuck with the elevator. Like, the gameplay is so simple and effective, it works. And that's what I love about Stanley Parable, and all the jokes aside and the gags and everything that makes Stanley Parable Stanley Parable. And I hope one day, maybe this will inspire you to play Stanley Parable and get into the game, because it is a good game that deserves the recognition that it got back in 2013 and even back in 2022 when the game dropped, And I hope this allowed people to experience the game more and maybe, I don't know, think about the game a little bit. Think about what they spent time creating and whatever. And anyways, I'm done. I don't want to I already spouted for 20 minutes on this game. Thank you so much for listening to me and my experience going through the Stanley Parable and how I feel about it, even a day or so later after the experience already. I like this game. I think this game is so cool, very unique, and it shouldn't take you that much time at all. I would say the length of this game, you can get on PlayStation, Steam. I don't know if you can get it on Xbox, but maybe Xbox as well, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have to see, but the game can take however long you spend on it. For example, if you're beelining for one ending, then it should probably take you maybe an hour. But if you're going for probably all endings, I'd probably say maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. Unless you if you don't know what you're doing, it will take even more time. But anyways, guys, comment, subscribe, favorite, share with your friends. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be posting shorts right after this. So meaning you guys are going to be getting shorts content right after this, meaning like new content. And I want to tell you guys this now. I might stop making rage comps and other types of comps. Like comp stuff, like funny moment stuff, and it'll be like very rare, far in between, because I kind of want to focus on more plush oriented, funny skit based content for my YouTube shorts. And I'll still do the My Experience stuff, like the My Experience Dragon Ball Daima or whatever I feel like could be a short, but it just won't be as often as what I want to make, like mini, smaller skits. You know what I mean? Because I love creating skits on this channel. I just came up with so many ideas yesterday, and I want to post some of them today for you guys, just kind of show y'all, yo, I can still think of funny, unique ideas with my characters and whatnot. So just wanted to let y'all know that's what I want to do with my shorts. Thank you, Lord Dracon. Thank you, Lexi. Thank you, Blessings by Luna. And thank you, Dachi, for joining my stream today. Also, Lord Dracon, thank you for becoming a member for more than 6 months. If you guys want to support me by liking, commenting, subscribing, you can do that. But also, you can support me by joining my YouTube membership. There isn't really any bonuses to joining other than you get like a little sticker right next to your name and shit. So that's cool. Also, you can, support me monetarily by, donating money if you want to. I'm not trying to say I'm trying to force you to, but if you want to support the channel that way, you can. It doesn't matter if it's $1, it doesn't matter if it's 5 cents. I'm still very appreciative of your guys' support to this channel. Anyways, and then you guys can even, if you guys want to donate to me and tell me what to use with that money, I will go out of my way and use what you give me to get what y'all would want me to experience. Anyways, peace out. Boop.